Born November 2nd, 1984. Dies September 13th, 1991.
You shouldn't have buried me. I'm not dead.
When Freddy Krueger stepped onto movie screens in the original Nightmare on Elm Street, his scary face launched a series of the most popular horror films in recent history. Around the world, millions of people have faithfully followed Freddy's shocking exploits in 5 terrifying movies.
Please, God.
This is God.
Now, with his appearance in number 6, Freddy's Dead, The Final Nightmare, Freddy Krueger takes his rightful place in the Horror Hall of Fame. Actor Robert Englund.
What makes Freddy so popular? I don't know if it's Freddy that's so popular. I think it's the films and the memory of attending the film. I think it's sort of a rite of passage for an awful lot of teenagers and adolescents to see if they can take a Nightmare on Elm Street film.
It was the worst nightmare I ever had. You wouldn't believe it. Matter of fact, I had a bad dream last night myself.
The first Nightmare on Elm Street told the terrifying story of a group of small-town kids who are stalked in their dreams by a hideous fiend.
They can take a Nightmare on Elm Street film.
It was the worst nightmare I ever had. You wouldn't believe it. Matter of fact, I had a bad dream last night myself.
The first Nightmare on Elm Street told the terrifying story of a group of small-town kids who are stalked in their dreams by a hideous fiend. Rachel Talalay, the director of Freddy's Dead, has been with the Elm Street series from the beginning.
Well, the very first Nightmare, I knew it was going to be a very scary film because when I read the script, I was scared, and that's very rare. I mean, I was really, truly scared. If you've been there for all these effects and you know exactly how they're done and you're still scared, you've got to know that you've got a really scary film.
I think the real gimmick, the real hook of these films is the idea that they do take place in a dream.
If I fall asleep, there's going to be trouble.
Whatever you do, don't fall asleep.
In the air.
The dream sequence that is the real root, the real key to the Elm Street films is why audiences keep coming back.
I won't tell.
The fans of the Nightmare on Elm Street movies, they're looking for
Clues as to when the nightmare has begun. And then they listen for sound cues and clues with the scenery transforming or the perspective being a little extra forced, or the cinematography and the lighting altering to really give them an indication that they're really into the nightmare.
Welcome to Wonderland.
They're always alert for when the dream begins and when the nightmare begins, and the various sort of rules, Robert's rules of orders that take place in a Nightmare on Elm Street movie. And the die-hard fans, no pun intended, can tell you what those are.
I don't see why you couldn't just give me a pill to keep me from dreaming.
Everyone's got to dream, young lady. If you don't dream, you go.
One of the things I really like about Nightmares that I think generally the older audience doesn't appreciate is that they just think that Nightmare on Elm Street is any old slasher film, and that they don't understand that this is a film that really delves deeply into the history of dreams and the psychology of dreams.
How long has this been going on?
Since the murders. She was fine before that. Now she thinks her dreams are real.
This is Guy. He's after us in our dreams.
Yes, the souls of the children. Give me strength.
Over the course of the Nightmare on Elm Street series, Freddy Krueger has developed his own suave personality.
We can room for more. You know, Freddy was pretty gory in part one. Freddy doesn't stab or behead or decapitate people and drink their blood any longer. If he wants to get even with you, he finds out your tragic flaw.
Bon appetit.
He finds out that she's bulimic, and he helps her binge and purge. You know, he stuffs her to death. Freddy finds out she's afraid of cockroaches, and he turns her into one, and it becomes kind of wonderfully Kafka-esque. So that there's an awful lot of that kind of formula to these films, where the audience is anticipating and looking forward to how Freddy is going to deal with one of his victims. And we've done that a lot with humor in these films. And I think that's probably, if there's been any progression, it's been that they've allowed me to sort of explore this sort of relish and humor that this sort of demon has.
You can check in, but you can't check out.
Just as vampire fans expect to have their crucifix and mirror and garlic, the Elm Street fans know what to look forward to in the Nightmare films.
And there's all these ingredients that we consider very necessary in the films. This sort of mythological boiler room basement that Freddy dwells in, which is a sort of a industrialized version of hell. There's all these various mythologies. The proverbial child on a tricycle that always shows up in our movies. The children's lullaby about Freddy Krueger. And we always have, for instance, a female hero, heroine, if you will, who vanquishes Freddy at the end, and the woman warrior, what that really represents that Wes Craven brought to these films.
We've gotten the right seasoning, a real identifiable character, Fred Krueger. A strong female heroine. And all these things together have kind of, you know, brewed and stewed and given us the right flavor that's attracted an audience.
And Rachel has a lot of respect for these things like I do, and I think they bear repeating just in a fresh way, and I think Rachel's going to have a lot of extra fun with that for the fans in Part 6.
We'll be right back for a look behind the scenes of Freddy's Dead, the final nightmare.
You forgot where you came from, kid. But I know where you're going. Every town has an Elm Street.
Freddy's Dead, the final nightmare, tells the story of Freddy Krueger's demented attempt to take his murder spree on the road.
No screaming while the bus is in motion.
Having wiped out all the Elm Street kids but one, Freddy decides to look for a fresh batch of victims in a nearby city. He uses the last survivor as a decoy to lure a group of troubled urban teens into his deadly clutches. And the only way these brave kids can stop this demon of dreams is to probe his murky past.
I'm tired. Welcome to Freddy 101. This is where they took away his child. What child? Taken away, put in the town orphanage. Freddy had a kid. Freddy had a kid.
It's
it's a mystery for quite a while. Who is Freddy Krueger's child that was taken away from him when he went to jail, when he was burned by the villagers?
In the final nightmare, the filmmakers reveal for the first time the secrets of Freddy Krueger's twisted childhood and family life.
Freddy! You ready for it, boy? Now it's time to take your medicine.
Thank you, sir.
In Nightmare 6, we have Freddy dealing with his past, as well as all our kids dealing with their pasts.
Sean Greenblatt plays the mysterious John Doe, a boy with no past and no parents, a boy who only knows one thing: he must stay awake.
He has amnesia, and he can't remember anything. He ends up wandering in the streets of the city, and he ends up in, the cops pick him up because they see him popping what is really like no-dos, but they think it's drugs or something. And they drop him off in this orphanage, which is where Lisa's character and I meet. All I know is that wherever I'm from, I was the last.
The last what?
Survivor. Look, do you have any, caffeine pills or coffee, maybe some Coke? I meant the soda. And she's trying to figure out more about me, and I just kind of tell her about these nightmares, and as the movie progresses, I keep trying to tell her that what's happening is real. Not again. He's not going to get me again. Nothing is going to make me get off this bed. Damn it! It ends up building to a point where you think I'm Freddy's son.
You know why you let me go.
Oh, do you think I'm your daddy?
There are more visual effects in Nightmare 6 than ever before. Two crews shooting continuously produce 300 separate special effects sequences. This unique airplane rig, using space-age technology, was built to propel a woman passenger through the roof of the plane. And to hurl John Doe into the terrifying dream that begins the movie. And the Elm Street crew have created a bizarre new version of Springwood to match Freddy's own warped being.
We've taken Springwood, you know, Freddy's town, into the future and given a whole new twisted bent on it. And it has a little Twin Peaks edge, has a little futuristic Village of the Damned edge. And that's made for a lot more opportunity for interesting cameos.
Adorable children! Would you like to come and live with us? It's been so long since we've had children in the house. So long.
And we've taken our main kids and moved them into the city and out of Springwood. And so we have much more gritty, urban, interesting kids.
Hey, look at her go. You know, you are sexy when you sweat.
You ain't getting none, Carly.
You sweating?
You ain't getting none.
You wouldn't hit a guy with a handicap, would you?
In Nightmare 6, the kids' fears are probably the most sensitive and emotional fears that we've ever handled before, because they all have to do, all our kids are runaways, and they all have to do with a certain amount of direct child abuse.
Mama? Mama!
Maybe you don't hear so good. Maybe I clean out your ears for you.
No, Mama, please. I've been a good boy. You don't understand. I've been good, Mama. Please, don't make me deaf, Mama. Please, I'm sorry.
I'm not.
One of the major themes of this movie is sins of the father passed on to another generation. If Freddy is irredeemable evil, if he is pollution, if he is starving children, if he is AIDS, if he is war, if he is greed, if he is suburban complacency, if he is all these things, his sins have come back to haunt the youth, the children, the future.
Come on. Give Daddy some honey. No one has to know.
I play Tracy's father in one of her nightmares, and then he's an incestuous father, and he comes back to her, and then she denies that it's real and turns around and beats him with a percolator.
You're not my daddy. You're not my daddy.
Come on, Tracy.
We've opted to make his tissue look as though it's made out of plastic or silly putty. So it's more of a claymation feeling. Everything's twisted and pushed together rather than a bashed-in, brutalized face, all bloody as it might normally appear. It's very surrealistic and odd.
No honey for Daddy. What's with kids today, huh? No respect.
These are kids who've overcome their deepest fears. And that means a lot to our teenage audience.
We're going to have to hit them with everything we've got.
Kids.
I personally have worked to turn Freddy into a sort of combination of the Freddy we had before with a few elements of Bart Simpson added into it. He's just really become an
Like me. Now I'm playing with power.
All right. Super Spencer! Yeah.
Great graphics.
We've got to get him out.
Keeping Spencer bouncing around is the job of mechanical effects wizard Marty Becker, a veteran of the Elm Street series.
There's 4 completely different mechanical designs on how to make Spencer fly, and so that's quite an undertaking.
Okay, go for it, Brecken.
As long as you shoot straight on him and you stay in perspective, you can hide the crane arm.
There's always one element of horror that is incredibly memorable in each of the films. Spencer being put in a video game world is going to be a wonderful nightmare.
What do you know? To beat my high score.
I don't consider that I've done 6 horror movies. I consider I've done 1 role, you know, Freddy Krueger. And it's a chance every once in a while to get it just the way I want it, to dance it a little bit, or to really let go and lose my control a little bit, or to really put in an extra little push. And it's kind of fun because with Freddy, I can do a little bit of that. I change the voice, I change the way I move.
The final 10 minutes of Freddy's Dead have been painstakingly shot in a special 3D process, which the filmmakers call Freddy Vision. This roller coaster ride takes the main characters deep into Freddy's twisted memories to reveal the true identity of his only child, and then to plunge Freddy into his own worst nightmare.
He really is the new Frankenstein, the new Dracula. It's really neat to think about being part of a, something that will be historically just added to the great horror figures.
Kids. Let's get out of here.
And we're really kicking out the stops on this one. I don't know how we could top it.
First, they tried burning me. Then, they tried burying me. They even tried holy water. What are you?
From the director of A Nightmare on Elm Street.
Something's in there.
The people under the stairs. They're here. They're real.
Can't get out. No one ever has.
Watch your step. Wes Craven's The People Under the Stairs. Rated R. Starts Friday, November 1st.
Thank you.